I spent 13 years in the defense and aerospace industry, the last few as an executive, working for a company that worked with all of the prime contractors in California. In fact, I'd done some work with Aerojet just down the road. And as we've seen over the years, the manufacturing capacity in California has fled to other states, like Texas, like Alabama, like Mississippi, because of their labor laws, because of their energy costs, because of the red tape costs, and because of the taxes. And so that has been a significant component, that and the fact that we have been spending less on weapons acquisition and R&D that California used to get back. Now, another reason why California gets less back. States like Arizona, states like Florida, that have a higher percentage of senior citizens on Social Security, well, they get more back from the federal government because people go to retire in places like Arizona and places like Florida. California, because of its higher tax structure, people typically don't often retire here as a destination. Now, there are specific areas that we can and should and must seek increased federal reimbursement. Let me give you one big glaring error. The federal government reimburses California for only a fraction of the cost of incarcerating illegal immigrants in our prison system. Given that the fact that they're here represents a failure of the U.S. immigration system, you would think that the federal government at the very least would owe us 100% reimbursement for those individuals in our prison system. The reason why this is important is that we have discovered over the years that if you simply deport these criminals to the nations that gave them to us, more often than not, because of flaws in that nation's criminal justice system and corruption, they end up out of prison magically, quite quickly, and then find their way back to California with great speed. So we can't simply release them to the nations in which they came, because they'll, in many cases, come right back to California even before their prison sentences would have been completed in the state of California. Have any more questions? I think we've got, what, about a couple minutes? How much time do we have left? 2 minutes. We've got a quickie. We've got a repeat question. Okay.
Well, it's not quite a repeat, but health care. Obama's a wonderful plan. Okay, I'd like to know what you will do against that, if you'll go against it as a repeal. And what would be your first thing you're going to do once you're in office?
Health care, Obamacare. I pledged to repeal Obamacare 4 months before that. I have two opponents. One of them, Carly Fiorina, pledged to repeal it the day after it passed, and Tom Campbell still hasn't pledged to repeal it. Now, it has a phased implementation. We in Congress control the purse strings of the federal government. We can slow it down until such time as there is a new occupant of the Oval Office on January 2014. And then we can push through repeal. Now, in place, let me close with this. In place of the repealed Obamacare bill, we need to save what's good about American health care, which is an awful lot, rather than use the blemishes in the current system as an excuse to increase government power. I propose 3 things as a starting point. Number 1, let us curtail junk lawsuits. Number 2, let us have some interstate competition for insurance. Number 3, instead of having an unconstitutional individual mandate, which by my reading of the Constitution violates it in at least 2 spots, Number one, your federal government can't tell you to buy a private product. Number two, in spite of the 16th Amendment's passage allowing income taxes, there is still a prohibition in the Constitution against capitation, meaning a direct tax, like a poll tax, that has anything to do with anything other than income because of the 16th Amendment. Well, the Obamacare bill basically says if you don't have a policy that meets their guidelines, you pay a minimum tax of just under $700, and then it goes up from there depending on your income. That sounds to me like a capitation. That is unconstitutional. So, instead of an unconstitutional mandate, why not use the federal tax code to incentivize people through credits to actually have their own insurance, using a carrot, not a stick, and moving us away from this exclusive reliance on employer-provided health care and moving it to where it should be, where more and more Americans look after their own needs so that they can have their own personal portability. I believe that's the direction we have to go. Thank you so much.